All right, so we are entering our official last topic of the semester, and I am very excited. This has been an okay semester. Like you guys, don't get me wrong, just very challenging for me for many reasons. If you looked at my lecture 2 versus my lecture 12, you can see I put on some weight. It's not very good. Uh, just trying to keep it light. I'm sure this semester has been challenging for a lot of people, particularly central workers, people with kids at home. So thank you for sticking with me. Um, Thank you for viewing the lectures. I put a lot of work into this. As you can see, usually it probably take twice, 2, 3 times as long to record a lecture as it does to just teach it. Um, so it's been a lot of work. And then on top of that, I had to create um, new assignments for you guys that were more work from home friendly, and probably didn't even strike the right balance on that. It's been tough, and I'm sure you guys have had a hard time following directions when I'm not physically there giving them to you. It's just hard to coordinate. So I'm kind of happy that the semester is coming to a close. It's just been, I think, 3 to 4 times as more work as a normal semester for me. But hopefully that was a fixed cost, and the variable cost for uh, additional lectures are decreasing. So we're in an increasing returns to scale environment, bringing back the econ. Okay, so anyway, this is a good topic. This is actually 4 topics. You have monopoly, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, and monopsony. And the latter 3 are really just a footnote. Monopoly is going to be 80% of this lecture. Okay. The reason being is monopolistic competition. Not a whole lot you can say about it. It's like a mix between monopoly and perfect competition. So anything we say about that, we've kind of already said in those 2 pieces. Oligopoly, you'd have to take a whole game theory course on to be really well versed in what's happening. That requires some calculus, and it just doesn't really lend itself well to Econ 1. But I'll touch on it. I'll talk a little bit about some of the models. But it's just like a slide. But if you want to learn more about oligopoly, I would do that whole class for free because it is a fun class. And then monopsony, I just have one slide on, essentially just because it showed up in the news. It talks a little bit about wage determination and the demand for resources, which are 2 topics in the syllabus that I didn't cover to my liking, besides in the discussion threads, and I didn't feel like that was all that great. So I wanted to kind of touch on it there just a little bit. But the bulk of it will be monopoly. So we're going to follow a lot of the same stuff as perfect competition. So what causes a monopoly? What does profit look like in a monopoly? Monopoly short term versus long term. What are the conditions for a monopoly? Like, what does it mean to be a monopoly? And then is a monopoly efficient? So to kind of give the game away, monopoly is when there's one firm. Monopolistic competitions when there's many firms in an industry, but each firm is their own little monopolist for their own little piece of the industry. And by that I mean there's only one firm that sells Starbucks coffee. There's only one firm that sells Dunkin' Donuts coffee. There's only one firm that sells La Colombe coffee, right? But there's many firms that sell coffee. Okay, and it's not perfectly competitive in that La Colombe is going to taste different from Dunkin' Donuts, is going to taste different from Starbucks, and in the long run, Starbucks can charge a higher price than Dunkin' Donuts because they have the brand and maybe the coffee is a little bit better. I don't know if that's true or not, but they get away with charging more in the long run than Dunkin' Donuts for sure. And La Colombe can charge higher than that, and an even fancier brand can charge higher than that, right? So each brand, even though that coffee as a whole might not be a monopoly, obviously, you can go to a million Starbuckses. Even though coffee as a whole isn't a monopoly, the product differentiation lends itself to a different way of competing than perfect competition or monopoly. So it's like somewhere in between. Oligopoly is when there's only a few firms that compete strategically, and they will make their price and quantity decisions based on what they think their opponent will make their price and quantity decisions. But I'm only going to talk about it a little bit. But oligopoly just means few firms. And then monopsony is when there's only one buyer. This is the only buyer-based market structure that we have. And like I said, the only reason I included it is because it showed up in the news relatively recently, and then it covers topics that I think are important enough to at least touch on. So without further ado, let's move into the producer theory review, and then we'll go into monopoly.